So let's talk a little bit about the way the company evolved, because I know when you started it, you thought, I'm starting this company for women, for young women, and I think you had a very different business plan or business concept. Talk about how this has evolved, how you've gotten from that idea you had back in 2007 to the company you've created now.
So the original business plan was content, tools, and advice. And when I dropped out, it was literally just me, and I was building it out of my savings account, which was like this big. And I needed extra money to be able to not have a salary for 9 months. So I first started with content. Literally, you could get like a MailChimp newsletter up, for $9 a month. So I said, let's start with content. And I know how to write content, and I can get people to write content. At the time, there was a ton of content sites that were writing really general personal finance content, and they weren't doing so well. One of them, called FiLife, had actually closed. And I remember, you can't create content for the masses. Like, content has to be niche and specific in order for it to be valuable. So I started with chief household officers who were making 83% of the spending decisions. The business plan was content, tools, and advice. I didn't know what the advice was going to look like, but I knew that people like me, I still wanted to talk to someone. And my first ever focus group, literally within 2 weeks of dropping out, was I brought a ton of people into a room, and we told them that they needed to open IRAs, and I watched them, every one of them, Princeton grads, Yale grads, all these smart kids, be like, I need to talk to someone. And I was like, people want to talk to someone. I was like, you can arm really smart people with really great information, and they still want to talk to someone. So it was content, tools, and advice. I rolled out the content, and we started building the tool, which is our money center. It's like a Mint, but there's no ads. And then the really valuable twist happened about 2 years in. And it's not easy overnight to build a regulated industry. We're a registered investment advisor that reports to the SEC. Our compliance alone is $100,000+. So I was like, well, that's all my funding. I was like, I can't, how do I get there? So I remember thinking about phasing it out. So we started with content, then we got to tools. And once we got the tool up, we started having people write in being like, can I ask a question to someone?
Explain what the tool is.
And the tool is, you can link your accounts, you see all your finances in one place, there's no ads. But the really smart thing is that we built that tool, that money center, so when you link your account, a planner on the other end could see it in seconds if you want them to. So if you wanted to actually get advice, right then and there, and if you think about it, I'm just like all of you. We don't have time, we don't have energy, and you want to lower the friction because you're so stressed out when it comes to your finances. So I said, that's one of the biggest problems about financial advice right now is you don't know where to go, and then you don't want to download thousands of facts to someone. You're like, but why can't you just know that I made $10,000 in a bonus last month? And why can't you just know that I spent too much on shopping? So what we did is made it so that the tool allowed all of the data to come in, and then we started having, earlier than I expected, people saying, can I pay to talk to someone? And so we became a registered investment advisor. And last January, we launched our subscription action program. And this is what was hard. So through this whole process, I became a certified financial planner. I collected some really fantastic certified financial planners, a team of 35 developers, and we built a program. Because it's just like anything else, you need it to be straightforward. And so all of this was phased out ultimately because you couldn't stand up a financial institution in a minute. And it took time, and it also took time for us to get it right. And so now what we have is, for about $500 a year, you get your own dedicated financial planner from LearnVest. They work full-time for us, and they build you a complete financial plan, and then they're on demand for you. Phone, email, chat, Skype, and they know everything about you. So when you call and you're like, hey, you know how we were talking about whether or not that we should open that IRA or roll it over or buy that apartment, or we're having a baby, and by the way, we found out we're having twins. That happened to one of our clients this week. We're right there saying, all right, we know all the information. We know that you still also have your dog. And here's what we need to think about to make sure that you're optimized. And so we launched that last January. And since last January, we raised $50 million to really blow this out across the country.
1-5 or 5-0?
5-0.
5-0, wow.
So we raised 70... we raised about $73 million total, and so that we can actually make this a product that every millennial, every American can get access to. And right now we can service a household whether you make $50,000 or $500,000 a year in income. And we cover all your financial, every single aspect, 360 degrees of your life, from, hey, you need renter's insurance, to your homeowner's insurance, you're in a flood region, it doesn't cover you, and that's what happened during Sandy. So it's those sort of things, and we cover it all.